Hi everybody, this video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous. And here's her story. Hi Ollie, I just watched your recent Father's Day video. I'm so sorry what you're going through. Narcs love using children as a tool in their stupid games. It's disgusting. Up until this point, my stories have been mostly about my family of origin and that one story about my former roommate and the car insurance. Maybe you remember that one, maybe you don't. I have been wanting to send you stories and questions that went on in my marriage with my now ex-husband. I was divorced at the end of the year and I just haven't been ready to talk about it outside of therapy until now. There is too much material for one video, so I'll need to break this up into pieces. For now, I think I'll focus on the subject of physical abuse as I learned something interesting about that while I was in therapy last year. My ex also engaged in triangulation and gaslighting, but I think I'll save that for future videos. We were together for 17 years and married for 12. Early on in the relationship, there were red flags that he was physically aggressive and violent, but I ignored them to my peril. He would overreact to small issues and respond in aggressive and physically violent ways. For example, when his car died, he got really pissed about it. He kicked the car hard enough to leave dents all over it before it was towed away. Another time he got his t-shirt caught in the door, which caused a small tear. He immediately took the shirt off and then began pulling it apart with his bare hands. It was until it was completely ruined. Then there was the time he was getting coffee at the drive-thru and he threw the cup out the window as he was driving away because they didn't make the coffee correctly. There are so many incidents like this. Yeah, with violent narcissists, okay, a huge red flag is what they do to inanimate objects. If they're constantly kicking and breaking and tearing at inanimate objects, punching doors, kicking cars, throwing coffee, doing that type of shit, that is red flag number one. Get the fuck away, because it's only a matter of time before they turn that violence onto you. I did not realize at the time how much damage he was doing to me mentally and emotionally each time he acted out like that. He never hit me, only himself. So in my head, I didn't think he was doing anything wrong. If anything, I thought he was abusing himself, not me. How is he not? Because when he acts like that, it's scary. It's terrifying. And you don't want to be with the spark of that. It's a mental terrorism again. I only knew that I would feel afraid of him when he was raging. And I would feel so horrible as I would watch him hit himself, damage our house and our stuff. He just wouldn't stop. Anything would set him off, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. If I tried to stop him, he would escalate and do more damage. So of course I would back down and accept whatever damage he caused. They would think it was a power thing. It never occurred to me to leave him. I just accepted it as normal, even though it made me feel bad. I should have run for the hills before I married him, but I didn't. I loved him, and it wasn't always bad. Most of the time, things were good. So I focused on that and ignored his aggressive behavior. I didn't let myself think about it. He had a sarcastic sense of humor and was good at making me laugh. We were in our early 20s, and I just thought, guys will be guys. He'll grow out of it and calm down, but he never did. It only got worse. I couldn't see how bad it was. I guess that's why they say love is blind. Because he never hit or pushed me, I didn't think it was anything I should be concerned about. If I only knew then what I knew now. Last year while I was in therapy, I described to my therapist how he would punch the walls in our home or break things when we fought. I was told what he was doing is considered a covert form of physical abuse. I always thought that it was only physical abuse if you got hit. He told me that punching walls or other similar behavior is a covert narc tactic used by covert abusers to control their victims. Yeah, yeah. It's the same as like when terrorists have a prisoner or somebody has a prisoner and they do a fake execution and click the gun. It's mental terrorism. It's a means to keep you in control. I was told that the purpose isn't to intimidate and instill fear in the victim so the victim won't fight back. It's a domination tactic. The abusers The abuser chooses this tactic because it's effective at gaining control. But unlike physically hitting the person, the behavior is not punishable by law since you can't file charges against hitting someone for someone hitting their own wall. He added that this covert tactic is especially appealing for covert abusers because people outside the home never see the abuse while they are raging or the resulting damage caused by the abuser. The abuser knows you will keep quiet about it because they know that their friends and family would never believe it, even if you did tell anyone. It's cowardly behavior. I thought I would share this learning point for any subscribers who have experienced this type of abuse. It was weird for me to hear from my therapist that I was actually being abused. I had no idea how it is even possible for someone to not even know they are being abused. I felt like such an idiot when he told me that. He said I shouldn't feel stupid or guilty for staying in the relationship as long as I did, since covert tactics are more difficult to spot than overt tactics like hitting a person. That's true. I've read a bunch of stories from from people talking to me about their overt narcissist when their covert narcissist has really been the problem the entire time. And what you're saying is exactly the same as my therapist told me and Precious, my brother. Okay, because my brother was swearing he was never touched or anything. And she said the fact that they were walking around naked at pornography and everything else that was going on is a form of sexual abuse. It is covert sexual abuse. The same way as breaking inanimate objects and these rages on inanimate objects is a covert form of physical abuse. You don't have to necessarily be touched to be physically or sexually abused. There is a form of covert physical and sexual abuse. That's why it's called covert narcissism. He went on to say that victims who get hit don't usually question that they're being he went on to say that victims who get hit don't usually question that they're being physically abused. They usually just feel like they deserve to get hit. Whether abuse is overt or covert, it's still mental manipulation and mind control by the narcissistic abuser. I was shocked by what my therapist told me. At first, I didn't believe it until he described the logic, and then I guess it made sense. I still felt some guilt over putting the abuse label on what happened. I don't feel comfortable comparing what I experienced to what someone who actually gets hit by their abuser. I would be interested in your opinion on this situation. Do you agree that physical abuse can be inflicted either overtly or covertly as described above? I would be interested in what your subscriber think of the topic as well. The reason I decided to share this story is because I want people to know that if something similar is happening to them, they need to know that it is abuse and it is intentional and it will never stop until you get away and go no contact. Thank you for reading my story. I look forward to your comments. Yeah, I obviously agree with you. But here's where I think you might be a little bit wrong. And this isn't to denigrate anybody who's actually been physically abused. But the person who has been physically abused has a black eye, a split lip, bruises, has an easier time of proving it than what you have. See, this mental terrorism just fucking destroys you. You call the cops, a woman calls the cops with a black eye, someone's going to jail. Someone's going to jail. There's not going to be any lack of believing. And you're right about you can destroy your own wall, you can break your own object. There's no protection against covert physical abuse. None. Not even against covert sexual abuse unless you're doing pornographic things in front of a child. But as an adult, there is none. So for you to try to downplay your abuse compared to somebody who's been physically abused, yeah, you don't have that physical pain of being beaten on, but you got the trauma and the torment of trying to explain this shit to people that it is actually abuse. That you've been abused for 17 years and there was nobody you could fucking call. that there was nobody you could help because what they were doing is not even against the law. At the very least, at least it's illegal to punch somebody in the fucking face and beat your wife or beat your spouse. And I'm not downplaying anybody who's been physically abused at all. All I'm saying is for the purposes of this video and your point of you saying you're not trying to upplay somebody who's been physically abused, they both have their horrible downsides when it comes to society believing. In yours, it's the mental trauma of it not being illegal, and there are no physical scars. So not that either one is preferable, or you'd want either one of them. But at the very minimum, at least the one who's physically abused, at least if they have the courage to call somebody, they'll be believed and somebody will do something about it. So that's why I'm very glad you brought up this story, because it's a good one. It's about coverts. It just seems like all these videos, since I haven't been able to make them, I've been dealing with covert narcissists and how dangerous the covert is and the kind of thinking pattern that the covert will put you on. So thank you for your support and your contribution and your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or comments in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal link in the description box. I'll have the video right back to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.